Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a project recipe for the new spring collection called Birds and Blossoms. And this is a project recipe that's very interesting to me because the photo that you see on the instructions for the project recipe is not, I don't know, it just didn't really hit me as a super I've got to do that kind of layout. But when I put it together the first time, and I'll show you that sample when we get to the end of this video, but when I put it together the first time, I was so much more excited about it. So I think you will be too. Let's check out my workspace and we will get started. I think you're going to enjoy this one. All right, here's my workspace for the project recipe for Birds and Blossoms. You can see that they used the oranger paper as their base pages and then chose the lighter blue and green, a green sheet for the punched pieces. I've chosen different papers for today and I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. I have chosen the brown kind of speckly paper as the base page, and then we're going to add to that this darker blue with some raindrops on it, which I just really love this paper for some reason. It's one of my favorites. I think I used it in the other version of this project recipe that I did as well, because it's just so pretty. And on the back are these blue tulips, but I really like this side that's more tone on tone. And then I'm also going to use this striped paper, which I just love the way the watercolored stripes complement each other. And then there are these really pretty delicate green leaves on the back, which just remind me of laying underneath a tree and looking up at all the branches. Super, super cool. First of all, I'm going to move these base pages out of the way so that we can focus on cutting a few pieces. We'll go ahead and shift this to page 2 of the project recipe, which is the cutting guide, and you can see it's a relatively simple one with only 2 designer sheets of paper. It makes it fairly cut and dry. We are going to use the striped paper to represent the blue designer paper on designer paper number 2, and the blue paper we're going to use as designer paper number 1, which is a little bit different than I used on my first example that I'll show you at the end. But I'm excited. I think this will be fun. Okay, so let me grab my trimmer, and the first thing we're going to do is make some cuts. Let's do the striped paper first. Now, the striped paper is directional, so please keep that in mind. We are going to use it striped side up. So I want my strips to be vertical, not horizontal, okay? I want it to sort of look like the wallpaper in a bedroom. So that means I'm going to turn it horizontally to cut it because I want to cut it across like this. So I'm going to go ahead and move my arm out because, as you can see on the pattern, I need an 8-inch piece and 2 2-inch pieces. So all of those I have to measure on the left-hand side of my cutting line. So we're going to go with 8 and cut that off. 4-inch piece that's left and cut it in half. Okay, so there we go. Then we're going to take this blue paper with the raindrops, and it is subtle, but it is actually a directional paper as well, because raindrops typically fall in a certain direction, right? So we need to turn this one so that the top is over here, the bottom is over here, or vice versa. And we are going to cut 2 3-inch pieces. Okay. And then we're going to turn this and we're going to cut a 4-inch piece. So that should be 4 by 6. Right. And then we are going to have a 6 by 8 size piece left over. So there is our 6 by 8, as you can see. Okay, perfect. So we're going to put our trimmer to the side, and then we are going to do some punching. So we're going to punch this piece, which is the larger rectangle, and we're going to punch the two 3-inch strips that we just cut from our green designer paper number 1. This piece we will set over here, and when we assemble we will need that again. Okay, so we're going to use our leaf punch. The leaf punch is what we call a frame punch in Creative Memories. You know it's a frame punch because on the wings on either side you'll see a silver line that comes out about 1/4 of an inch from the side of the punch housing. Alright, and that indicates that you can make a frame with this very easily. Now that's not to say that you can't make a frame with one of the other punches, but it is a little bit more difficult and may not turn out exactly like you want. Okay, this punch is designed to make a frame with. You can make a border with it as well, and we'll do that today, but it is also designed to make a frame, which we're also going to do. Okay, so first let's just do the borders. And you know, to do a border, you line up the corner of your paper with one of these marks that's found on the front of your punch. So when you place your paper inside the punch, you need to take a look at the end and make sure to line it up, push it all the way to the back, to the shoulder in the back, and line up this front edge with one of those black lines. Okay, I'm lining mine up with the edge on the, or with the line on the left, but you can easily go the opposite direction, whatever makes you happy. And you just punch it and then you slide it over until your paper matches the blue design on the wing of your punch. See there? And then you just keep punching and sliding until you get to the end of your paper. This is by far the easiest way I have found or seen to punch a border. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? I just think that's really pretty. Alright, so there's one. We're going to do a second one now, just like we did the first. Alright, now to use a frame punch and create a frame with it instead of a border like we were just doing, we are going to take this paper and we're going to use this outside line to line our paper up rather than this mark in the front. So we're going to take the paper and slide it in just like we did to make our border, push it all the way back to the shoulder on the back so that it's level. Then we're going to line up this edge of the paper with that silver line on the wing. So hopefully you can see that, how the line of the paper is lining up right there with the silver line on the wing. We're going to punch, and in this case we're going to punch it 3 times, and then we will run out of space. So we will next need to turn our paper and again line this left hand corner up. And by the way, you can do this the opposite way too. You can line it up on this side with that line. Okay, so we're going to go across and you get this square that's extra. So slide and punch it twice on the short side, turn it, and line up that corner again with the silver line over here. That's a great shot because you can see the line and you can see the paper. Okay, so do like that. You get another 1-inch square, slide. We're going to punch it 3 times. And turn it. You can see we only have one more side to do. So just for fun, I'm going to do this the opposite way. So I'm going to put my corner on the line on this side. Push it all the way to the back of the shoulder. Gonna punch. Remove that 1-inch strip. Slide it till it matches the design on the side. Punch. And here's our remaining corner, which pops right off. Looks like I missed it just a tiny bit there. All right, so we will have 4 extra 1-inch squares, which we will not use in this layout, but you could use them in another layout. So if you want to save those, then by all means. Okay, now we've got all the pieces that we need to create this layout. So I'm going to bring down my base sheets. You'll notice that each one of the pieces you just cut is labeled with an A, B, C, or D, and it corresponds to this diagram, or what we call a sketch, on the front of the project recipe, and they show you where each piece belongs. I'm going to go ahead and assemble this, and you can follow along. First of all, I want to talk to you about these base sheets, because you'll notice they are exactly the same. Sometimes when you have patterns that are exactly the same, it's good if you just kind of rotate one of them, and you can rotate it all the way around, or you can just rotate it once, however you want to do it, so that they kind of look a little different. All right, so I think I like that, and that's rotated so that this one is upside down. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our 8 by 12-inch piece. Okay, this is going to go across the left-hand side of our base. So I'm going to add adhesive, about a 1/2 inch of adhesive, 5 different places down each long side, and just twice up each short side. All right, now I'm going to scoot that over just a little so that I can get this piece a little more in front of me. We are going to add this about 3/4 of an inch from our top edge. So if you're working on a mat, it is helpful because that will enable you to keep your paper where you want it. Okay, so I'm going to just, I don't have a mark at 3/4 of an inch, but I can see it right here and make a close enough guess. Okay, so we're going to go with that 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to take our blue paper. We're going to adhere that. And I know it might seem kind of weird that our leaves are blue, but we can flip. This is something that I wanted to try that I haven't done yet. So I want to try, and for those of you who might be thinking of this too, well, I'm going to try it. Let's see if it works. And if it doesn't, you'll know, don't do this, okay? But I'm going to put my scoring blade in my trimmer, and I'm just going to make a mark right at the base of this punched line. Okay, so it ends up being, let's see, I'm putting the top of the punched side at the 1 1/4 inch mark. Okay, and I'm gonna just lightly score my designer paper so that I'm not cutting it. I'm just putting a scoring line in there, and I'm putting my, for those of you who know my track record with changing blades, I put my my straight blade back in there. Okay, now I'm gonna just fold this up with the idea that we've got that leaf pattern, which is so pretty, and we've got the blue tulips that are on the back of this paper and the blue background. And I probably should have scored that a little more heavily because it's not folding super easily. But I really didn't want to cut my paper. All right, so we're going to use this and place it down here. Okay, now my question for myself is, do I want to adjust my page down just a little? And I think that would be a good idea so it's a little bit more centered. So let me grab my... Now if you don't have... Darn it, I tore my paper. If you don't have the... because I put this on with not repositionable adhesive, so I'm not going to be able to adjust it down very far. In fact, maybe not at all because my paper is tearing. Okay, so if you are doing this and you like the effect, just know that it will be better if you move this down so that it is more centered. But I'm not going to worry about taking that off because it will tear. And I'm going to use repositionable on this one because I don't want it to tear if I want to take it off. Okay, so I'm just going to place this flush along the bottom of my striped piece. Okay, so like that. And I'm going to, because I didn't add adhesive, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going about this all wrong. I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive kind of all the way along, and then I can go back in and remove what is not adhered to the paper, which is not really the smart way of doing this. And I apologize. But sometimes when I have an idea on the fly, it works, and other times I wish that I had done something differently. This is one of those times, one of the latter. All right, but this will work. Okay, so pretty. I really like that better. All right, so this side is done as far as we're going to work on it for the time being. Let's go ahead and work on the right hand side of the layout. Okay, so this side is going to be, we're going to put it right up against the edge of the one next to it. Grab your 2 pieces of striped paper that we cut earlier, and I think I'm learning from my mistake. I'm using my repositionable adhesive. That was the one I naturally grabbed this time. Okay, you're going to take the top piece of this and you're going to place it, I'm going to place it blue to blue on my paper. So if your paper is, if you're using the same paper and your end side is the brown side, then turn yours around so that the brown sides match. All right, so this just goes even with the top of the other striped paper. Okay, that's how we did that one. This one's going to go even with the bottom of the striped paper on this side. So that once your photos are on there, it really does look like you have a full piece of paper underneath there, but you don't. Okay, so those are down. Now I'm going to grab my trimmer again. We're going to replace the scoring blade because I want my 2 pages to match. So we're going to take this other punched border that we made. We're going to place it in here so that the top of the punched side is at 1 1/4 inches, just like before. Okay, then I'm going to come through here with my scoring blade, not too hard, but hard enough to fold the paper. I'm going to do that again because up here on this end it just doesn't look like it's scoring. That's better. Okay. And this is the way I should have done it last time. Okay, so I'm going to fold this up so that I can make that crease. This is kind of a lesson in what to do and what not to do today. Okay, take your repositionable adhesive and place it carefully across each one of those leaf punches, and then go ahead and adhere it, fold it over and stick it down. Ta-da! That works so much better. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and adhere this to our base sheet. Alright. There we go. Okay, now we are going to take our frame that we made and the mat that we made, and those are going to go on top of each other. So I'm going to put some repositionable adhesive on the flower side of the 4x6 piece, and then this will make it easier for you to see. Going to place this down so that this upper right corner is right between those two open dot punch areas, and then this one down here goes in the same place. Okay, that's how you know it's centered. It doesn't work quite as well in every corner, but if you can get these two corners to line up that way, then you're good. All right, then we're going to put some repositionable adhesive on the back of this. And we're going to center this in here. If you have a 4x6 template, you can place that in there. You can see that there is still going to be a little bit of a gap all the way around, but I'm going to place my photo right next to the edge of where that photo would be. Okay, does that make sense? This frame is going to go right next to the edge of where that 4x6 photo would be. And actually, I take that back. We probably need to leave just a little bit of a gap. So I'm going to lift this up and move it over just a tiny bit. That's the beauty of repositionable adhesive. Okay, so we're going to leave a little bit of a gap on the outside, leave a little bit of a gap on the inside, make sure there is the same amount. Actually, I'm going to place this about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom here. There, that'll work. 1/8 of an inch from the bottom because we are going to add to this border up here. So we don't want to make that too convoluted. All right, now according to our instructions, they've taken a 12-inch sticker and placed it across the seam right here at the top of the page. You can do that. You can use a 12-inch sticker. You can use a 12-inch laser border. Isn't that cute to add those cute little robin's egg nests in up there? You could add butterflies, pretty butterflies. We could add a little more color, add some yellow, or flip these over and make them blue. Depends on, you know, what you like and what your color scheme is for your photos. This is a spring page, so I'm inclined to go with the yellow side of those if I decide to use those. But let me show you a few other samples. So you could use these cute leaves. I think that would be cute. You could use, I'm liking the bird's nest, so I'm putting them over here. You could use this larger vine, although it is going to be quite large and might interfere over here with your frame. So that one's probably a little too big. You could use these birds. Again, these are the laser borders that come with this collection. We could use the yellow side. This is the flip side of this. Same border, just two different sides, so you can choose which side you like best. Kind of like the yellow birds, but there's one more, and that's this one with the tulips, which I think is cute. If we were to use this one, because it is a little bit tall, I think I would tuck it underneath the punched frame right here. Pop this up over the top of it so that you could lower that down just a little bit and still see the base page border underneath. So there's that side of that one, or there is this side with all of the red tulips. And there is not a border placed across this seam at the bottom. So whatever you put up here really is the only border they're recommending. That doesn't mean you can't put something across the bottom here. It's just that generally you only have one pack of 6 of stickers, and so that means you only have a certain number of border stickers. But if you use your laser borders and you have 2 packs of laser borders, then you have that as an option, right? So I was thinking I would probably use these yellow flowers because they just sort of, I don't know, they just sort of spoke to me. And because some of the embellishments that we're going to put on here have flowers and a little bit of yellow, so I think we need that color to repeat in our layout. Now you see there are 3 different places for embellishments. They've got one here between the photos that are meant to go over here on this page. They've got one up here, and they've got one over here. Let's see. Let me remind everybody what our layout option, or what our embellishment options were that we put together yesterday. We have this one that has the butterfly. So we have Spring Has Sprung, which has the pretty tulips. That one will be fun to use. And then we have this one. In the spring, at the end of the day, you should smell like dirt. If you didn't catch my Scrapbooking 101.5 yesterday, we talked about putting clusters together. So that's when these got assembled. I think I'm liking this one for up here, but it doesn't quite fit because it's a little bit high. But if I move that, if I move that sticker to the top, then we could possibly put it right there. I think that would work, actually. And then this one, I think will go down here. To carry some of that pretty yellow. Okay, and then this one will be over here. Now the difficulty with this one is it's meant to go between the photos, and since I don't have the photos to go on this page just yet, that is going to be a little bit tricky unless I pop the whole thing up with foam squares, and it's already got foam squares on it. But I think I will do that just so that I don't have as big of a challenge getting my pictures on. Right, so with that. Should have put them horizontally so they could fit right between the photos, so I'll fix that. And then that way I can slip a photo behind fairly easily. And then this one I'm going to pop up as well so that I can slip a photo underneath it. Okay, but first, and I shouldn't have taken those off just yet because we need to put our laser border down. So let's put these down. We're going to just add some reposition adhesive on the back and then place that seam right across the middle of the center of the flower. And then that will center that border nicely. Okay, and then this will go right above there, but then we can stick our photo up underneath. And then same thing for this side. We're going to start that from the middle. And then gradually work our way over, making sure that that's halfway. It just sort of looks like a garland there. Okay, and then this one is stuck down right there. Okay, so plenty of areas to journal on these two pages, especially since I made them a little bit too high. There are no specific instructions for how high to put this, and then because I folded it up, I think it would have been just fine if I had not folded it. It would have been centered if I had not folded it, but because I folded this up to give it a little more interest at the bottom down here, it's off-centered. So if I were to do this again, I would start this a little bit lower, probably more like an inch down. Maybe even like 1.25 inches from the top would be good. That would move this down to about right here and give you a little more room for that border at the top. All right, so cute for spring. We probably needed a little bit of something yellow here with this sticker. Let me see if I have anything small that I could add, but I don't think I do. I think most of the stickers this time around are kind of large, so there isn't really a lot of anything tiny. Yeah, nothing really tiny that I could add to this. So if I have a photo that's going on this page that has some yellow in it, I'll make sure and put that right here just to kind of balance out some of those colors. Okay, so a 3.5 by 5.5 would fit right there. And we've got, this is a 4 by 4. Let me grab a marker and write that down for you. Four by 4. Okay, so these will go underneath the frame, but will fit right there. This one's also 4 by 4. And then, oh my goodness. Okay, and then we'll have a 6 by 4 that will go in here. And our spring has sprung. And another 4 by 4 that will go there. And a 6 by 4 that will go here. Okay, so if you'll imagine that, the 4 by 4 comes in here like so. And we can make them a little closer. 4 by 4. There'll be a 4 by 4 down here as well. Now, if you're able to center this a little bit better and you wanted to, you could use one of these 4 by 4 spots for journaling. But because mine is a little bit higher on the page, I can use this strip down here for journaling or putting a title or that kind of thing. Because it is as wide as it is, it's about 1 3/4 inches high. I think I would use this as a title for whatever the event was that is on this page. Here's the other sample that I did, and you can see how backing it with the blue up here looks. I really like the way that this one came together as well. I think it looks really nice with the blue background here. And then the leaf in the green down here at the bottom looks nice too. I added a border here because it made sense to me. But as I said before, the project recipe does not call for a border here. So that is up to you how you want to do yours. But I added that border just because it seemed right to me. So I may actually go in and add something here. I'm not sure what, but we'll see. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope this has been enjoyable for you, and I hope that this has worked or has inspired you to work on pages that will work in your album with this project recipe and these papers or papers that are similar to these. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.